international community, international organizations, nuclear countries must respond immediately.
Росія не виконує жодних норм міжнародного права в сфері забезпечення ядерної радіаційної безпеки.
We can see that Russia starts using the weapons of mass destruction, destroying people, ecosystem.
Hello and welcome to Ukraine in Flames, a special project by Ukraine Media Center and NGO Euro-Atlantic Force. And I'm your host, Miroslava Yaremkin. The undermining of the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant by Russian forces may have devastating consequences for Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, even though the situation is under control right now. Water from the Kakhovsky reservoir is necessary for the station to receive power for turbine capacitors and safety systems. In today's episode, we will delve into the unfolding situation regarding nuclear safety and assess the potential risks to the nuclear infrastructure following the Russian attack on Kakhovka HPP. If you want to learn more about this subject, please continue watching this video and subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss our videos in the future. Video and satellite images do not yet allow us to draw a final conclusion as to how critically the water level in the Kakhovsky reservoir will drop after its detonation by the Russian occupiers. Experts say that there may be a Fukushima scenario ahead. Due to the lack of water supply, heat will not be removed from the active zone of the reactors. Their heating will occur, and that what happened in Fukushima might happen. Such actions of Russia, which threaten a nuclear accident, can be equated to the use of nuclear weapons without their actual use. Former ambassador of Ukraine to the USA and chairman of the board of Ukraine Crisis Media Center, Valery Chaly, will share his address to the international community about the need to create a new mechanism to push out the military from Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant and stop this unpunished nuclear blackmail.
That's absolutely new level of escalation from Russian side in the Russian-Ukraine war. This could be compared with the weapons of mass destruction and the consequences of this event we even can't to calculate for Ukrainian people, for Ukrainian territories, for Ukrainian ecology. But what most important, there's a demonstration of ability, readiness, and goals for Russian leadership to use such type of weapons against Ukraine. So it's absolutely new stage of this confrontation, new stage of Russian-Ukrainian war. The next target could be not only dams on Dnipro River, but also Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Level of threats in nuclear threats grow significantly. Only way how to resolve this problem, this back in control to Ukrainian side on Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant facilities. Withdrawing all the weapons, all technique, all equipment bringing by Russian military to this power plant. International community, international organizations, nuclear countries must respond immediately. This response must be efficient, coordinated, and with understanding this next time could bring another level of threats. Very important that such countries like China, India, Brazil, or South Africa support the regime of non-proliferation and support all the steps that's bringing Russia to responsibility and not allow to use the nuclear as a threat for not only for Ukraine but all the world, including Europe. Another important thing that's the organization responsible for monitoring, unfortunately, not having the opportunity on this stage to respond to Russian threats. That's why we need immediately to create new mechanism to push out the military from the stations. Another way is way for nowhere, because the aim of Russian leadership to bring escalation on the highest level and pushing Ukraine and all the partners for capitulation and fixing and keeping control on the occupied territories. We understand this play, this game, but the only way how not allow that full deoccupation of Ukrainian territories, including infrastructure projects and bringing back control to the Ukrainian authorities, also professionals who understand how to respond for nuclear threats. So it's only way how to manage that. It's very difficult now to understand this only way. It's very difficult to coordinate all the country on this approach, these goals, but Ukrainian official position remain the same. Only one way how to keep stability and security in Europe, restore security in Europe, it's a full occupation of territory of Ukraine and bringing international law, international rules, including in the such specific sphere like non-proliferation, to the position this was before Russia tried to to blow up not only this station, but also international order. If we allow Russians to undermine international order, to blow up all the rules, it will be end of the stability and peace in the world. We have a time to bring in peace back, and I believe we will do it.
Director General of International Atomic Energy Agency Rafael Grossi said that at the current rate of decline in the level of the Kakhovsky Reservoir, there will be enough water to feed the turbine capacitors and safety systems of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant for several days. But there are also alternative sources of water supply that could last for months if they're not destroyed. Again, if they are not destroyed. We have to repeat it because we are dealing with terrorist nuclear blackmail that cannot be stopped any other way than by economic sanctions and providing more weapons to Ukraine to regain the territories occupied by nuclear madmen. Nuclear energy expert Olga Kosharna emphasizes that the detonation of the dam is the violation by Russians of Protocol 1 to the Geneva Conventions, and the international community should not be idle and inert when reacting to this devastating man-made catastrophe.
Ситуація навколо ЗАЕС та окупації ЧАЕС стала яскравим прикладом безпорадності міжнародних структур. Росія не виконує жодних норм міжнародного права в сфері забезпечення ядерної радіаційної безпеки. Вона не виконує норми міжнародних конвенцій протидії ядерному тероризму та протидії заручників. І тому єдиний інструмент примусити і дотримуватись норм міжнародного права – це економічні санкції проти ядерного терориста, співучасника злочинів воєнних, це державна корпорація «Росатом». Як персональні санкції, так і проти керівників і «Росатома», і всіх дивізіонів «Росатома», а також всіх осіб, які брали участь в окупації ЗАЕС протягом цього часу. Ну, зокрема, генеральний директор фейкової російської експлуатуючої організації ЗАЕС Олег Романенко, а також інші, які зараз знаходяться на майданчику ЗАЕС. Економічні санкції проти Росатому вже застосовуються. Перша була Велика Британія проти 17 керівників наглядової ради Росатома, США щодо окремих підприємств, ключових, наприклад, для реалізації міжнародних проєктів Росатома за кордонами, тобто будівництво АЕС за кордонами Росії російськими технологіями. Але, наприклад, Угорщина планує будувати за російськими ядерними технологіями АЕС ПАКШ за російські кредити. І чомусь Європейський Союз не має заходів впливу на це рішення Угорщини, яка також перешкоджає прийняттю консолідованих рішень щодо санкцій в пакетах Європейського Союзу. Але, на мій погляд, кожна європейська країна має приймати рішення щодо санкцій проти Росатому і персональних керівників Росатому і дивізіонів співробітників Росатому або підприємств Росатому саме на двосторонньому рівні. Це єдиний поки що інструмент. Це економічні санкції, також примушення Росатому зупинити ядерний тероризм. На Запорізькій зараз критичний дефіцит персоналу оперативного. Нагадаю, що до початку широкомасштабного вторгнення працювало 11 тисяч осіб, зараз близько 3 тисяч. Частину працівників ЗАЕС примушували підписувати контракти шантажем, також затримкою і катуванням. І тому критичний дефіцит персоналу, у зв'язку з чим системи безпеки деградують, бо не виконуються через дефіцит персоналу ремонти за графіком, огляд обладнання відповідно до регламенту і таке інше. І також це може сказатися на аварійному реагуванні, якщо відбудеться інцидент з радіаційними наслідками. Доля персоналу ЗАЕС важка. Я знаю, що громадська організація підготувала доповідь, яка має бути направлена до Міжнародного кримінального суду в Гаагу щодо тиску та шантажу та скоєння воєнних злочинів проти людяності стосовно персоналу ЗАЕС. Це окрема доповідь буде. І всі злочинці мають понести відповідальність і бути засуджені Міжнародним кримінальним судом, я сподіваюся.
This is the first time in world history that war has come to the territory with nuclear facilities. And for many military and nuclear experts, if we talk about the nuclear dangers of war, the potential for the nuclear factor to become important has more to do with the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant than with the possibility of Putin using tactical nuclear weapons. Former Minister of Environmental Protection and Nuclear Safety of Ukraine Yuri Kostenko believes that the attack on Kakhovka HPP is the new stage of Russian warfare that significantly endangers not only Ukraine, but the whole Europe. Let's take a listen.
I just wanted to focus not on the consequences. Yes, the dam is destroyed, and mostly we stress on what's going to happen, you know, the forecasts for environmental situation, but these are the consequences of this horrible aggression, that atrocity that Russia is demonstrating. Russia is ignoring all the rules of war, the customs, and basically Russia is a terrorist. This terrorism started when Chernobyl NPP was seized, later Zaporizhzhia NPP, and according to IAEA standards and norms, international norms, this is the nuclear terrorism. Unfortunately, the UN Security Council and IAEA may say that they have almost ignored that, but they did not pay a lot of attention. But for me, it became a new stage, definitely, of a modern war, for modern warfare, led by Russia, because, you know, what the world is afraid the most, using the weapons of mass destruction. And yesterday's blast of the dam made by Russia, we can call it already, we can see that Russia starts using the weapons of mass destruction. destroying people ecosystem. We can call that ecocide or genocide. We can use that word, but primarily I'll call it the use of WMD. That's what it is by Russia for the first time in the 21st century. And what all the experts actually try to warn us, because Putin is threatening with the nuke, like a Neanderthal threatening with the nuke. When the red lines were set, somehow Russia diminished it a little bit, but nobody paid attention to it, that Russia is holding a whole NPP as a captive, all the people there as captives, and the blast of the NPP, the explosion, can actually lead to worse consequences than even the situation in Japan during the World War II. We don't know what's happening there, because we have territories occupied. We don't know the exact number of people who died or injured. People are not interested in the damn explosion. They want to stay healthy and alive. What Russia did, I call it like a new stage of warfare. Russian aggressor is opening a new stage of that horrible warfare, that horrible atrocity against humanity. It's not just against Ukraine, it's against humanity. There's no response I would love to get from international experts, world leaders, and security structures, primarily UNSC, of course, IAEA. No adequate response to the threat. We'll still have these threats only growing in future, I think. And no proposals on how to avoid this escalation. Nothing. I don't see it. The fact that Russia is saying that we are escalating because we have HIMARS and, getting all the types of weapons, and they have this mantra, this blah, blah, blah all the time, that this is the escalation the West is doing. But the West cannot give a consolidated response and say that Russia, with its actions, not just leading to escalation, it's leading to the Third World War, because WMD is already used. It's there. That's something that international mass media do lack now. My first recommendation, at least to Ukrainian authorities, that's how we need to state and talk about that, not just to speak of aspects like who blasted which parts or like the scale of environmental impact. No, this is the new stage in Russian warfare against us. So as a specialist on nuclear safety and security, I can say that unfortunately all the roads will lead to Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. The technology of blasting Kakhovska Dam, what Russian terrorists used, we know what they did. In October last year, they started bringing explosives to the HPP and placing it in the spots which will give the highest impact. What we saw actually last night. This is happening, unfortunately, as well at Zaporizhia NPP. I have some non-official information. In turbine chambers and in many other premises, Russian terrorists were bringing explosives to that premises as well. They are mining. Nobody knows what the scale is. Just the Russian HQ, military HQ knows that. The fact that inspectors are not allowed to go there, they are fully entitled to visit any NPP under their control. Not even any premise, like they can dig deep into technologies. This is a grave violation of international law by Russia. So my opinion is that what we had, the incident at Kakhovska HPP, and what Ukraine is experiencing, this is just a prerequisite for something that may happen at the worst scale. A huge nuclear disaster we may get in Zaporizhia NPP if now Russia observes purely diplomatic, like a very neutral response to its use of WMD. If there will be no response, I don't want to be a bad prophet or an angry prophet, I just don't want to mention anything that may happen at Zaporizhia NPP. This is the key thing that today we have to focus on. Ukrainian authorities, president, government, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as the loudspeaker of our opinions. Giving the statements, have all debate and all possible institutions, first of all the security institutions, run these debate, but via diplomatic channels to carry out thorough negotiations with our partners, those who help us, to eliminate the consequences of Putin's atrocity, not just to warn them, but to ask them to, for the European countries and the US, to launch very harsh negotiations on red lines for Putin to not to be able to cross, because we don't want to have that nuclear disaster at Zaporizhzhia and PP.
You've been watching a special project by Ukraine Media Center and Euro-Atlantic course dedicated to the Russian-Ukrainian war, Ukraine in Flames. In the description under this video, you can find information on how you can help Ukraine fight Russian aggression. If you find our work useful, please like and share this video. Slava Ukraini!